You're about to drop $1,600 on a brand new monitor. You've done your research, you've read the reviews, you've watched every unboxing on YouTube, and you're standing in the Apple Store ready to hand over your credit card for that gorgeous 27-inch 5K studio display. But right before you tap the payment terminal, your phone buzzes. It's a notification that changes everything. Apple just announced not one, but two brand new studio displays for 2026, and the one you're about to buy is now officially the old model. That moment right there, that gut punch of almost buying outdated hardware at full price, is exactly why you need to hear everything I'm about to tell you before you spend a single dollar on any monitor in 2026. Let me take you back for a moment, because understanding where we are requires understanding where we have been. Apple released the original studio display back in March 2022, and let's be honest, it was a strange product at the time. Here was a company that had spent years ignoring the external display market after discontinuing the Thunderbolt display in 2016, and their grand return was a 27-inch 5K LCD panel with a 60 Hz refresh rate and an A13 chip inside. Yes, you heard that correctly. A full computer chip, the same one that powered the iPhone 11, was shoved inside a monitor just to handle the camera and speakers. The display itself was genuinely excellent. That 5K resolution at 218 pixels per inch meant text looked like it was printed on glass. Colors were accurate enough for professional photo and video work. The build quality was that signature aluminum unibody that makes every other monitor on your desk look like a plastic toy. But the 60 Hz refresh rate, the lack of HDR, the non-removable power cable, the webcam that shipped with embarrassing software issues at launch. Critics had a field day. And yet, despite all those flaws, the studio display sold remarkably well. Why? Because there simply was not an alternative. If you wanted a 5K monitor that just worked with your Mac, that woke instantly from sleep, that had built-in speakers that did not sound like a tin can, that had a webcam that actually worked without installing driver software from 2010, the studio display was literally the only option. Apple knew this, and for 4 years they did nothing about it. Now fast forward to March 2026. The display landscape has shifted. Samsung launched the Viewfinity S9, a 5K competitor with a smart TV built in. Dell pushed out their ultra-sharp 6K. LG refined their ultra-fine lineup. And Apple, for the first time in 4 years, finally decided to respond. But here is where it gets genuinely interesting. They did not just refresh the studio display. They split it into two entirely different products, and the strategy behind this split tells you everything about where Apple thinks the display market is going. The first model is the straightforward successor that everyone expected. It is called the Studio Display, just like the original, and it starts at the same $1,599. On paper, it looks almost identical to its predecessor. Same 27-inch size. Same 5K Retina LCD resolution. Same 60 Hz refresh rate. Same aluminum design with those slim black bezels. And this is where most people stop paying attention. They see the spec sheet, they see it looks the same, and they write it off as Apple being lazy again. But that would be missing the entire story, because under the hood, this display has received the kind of upgrades that fundamentally change how you use it every single day. The A13 chip is gone, replaced by the A19. The same silicon architecture that powers Apple Intelligence features across their latest devices. That means the camera system, the audio processing, the center stage tracking, and the new Desk View feature all run on hardware that is multiple generations ahead of what was in the original. The 12-megapixel ultra-wide camera is now the same sensor used in the latest iPad Pro, and combined with that A19 chip, the image quality during video calls has gone from serviceable to genuinely excellent. Apple also upgraded the microphone array to a studio-quality 3-mic system, which means you will not sound like you're calling from inside a bathroom anymore. The 6-speaker system now supports spatial audio with dynamic head tracking, which sounds like marketing nonsense until you actually hear it. When you sit in front of this display and play a Dolby Atmos track or watch a movie mixed in spatial audio, the soundstage is so wide and precise that you will genuinely turn around to check if someone is behind you. For a built-in monitor speaker system, it should not be this good, and yet it is. But the connectivity upgrades are where the Studio Display 2 gets serious about the future. Both Thunderbolt ports are now Thunderbolt 5, which means you get up to 80 gigabits per second of bandwidth. That is double what Thunderbolt 4 can manage. In practical terms, this means you can daisy-chain two studio displays from a single cable coming out of your MacBook Pro, and both will run at native 5K resolution at 60 Hz without breaking a sweat. It also means you can connect external storage that performs as fast as your internal SSD, connect high-speed networking gear, and still have a USB-C port free for whatever else you need. The host port delivers 96 watts of charging power, which is enough to fast charge a 16-inch MacBook Pro while you're working. That single cable setup, power, video, data, and audio all through one Thunderbolt 5 connection is a kind of seamless experience that makes you understand why people pay the Apple tax. It is not about the individual specs. It is about how everything disappears so you can just work. Now here's where the story takes a dramatic turn, because Apple did something with the second model that nobody predicted. Meet the Studio Display XDR. Starting at $3,299, this is not just a slightly better version of the standard display. It is an entirely different class of product that borrows technology from Apple's $6,000 Pro Display XDR and packs it into a 27-inch monitor that costs roughly half as much. And I need you to understand why this monitor matters, because the display technology inside it represents a leap forward that changes what is possible on your desktop. The Studio Display XDR uses a mini LED backlight system with 2,304 individual dimming zones. If those words do not mean much to you, here is what they translate to in the real world. Traditional LCD displays use a single backlight behind the entire screen. When a scene needs black, the display tries to block the light, but some always leaks through, which is why blacks on most monitors look more like a dark gray. Mini LED solves this by dividing the backlight into thousands of tiny zones that can independently dim or brighten, and when a zone turns off completely, you get true, deep, inky blacks that approach what OLED can do, but without the burn and risk that makes OLED monitors terrifying for anyone who stares at static menu bars and toolbars for 8 hours a day. The brightness numbers on the XDR are frankly absurd. 1,000 nits sustained brightness across the entire screen for SDR content. 2,000 nits peak brightness for HDR highlights. To put that in context, the original Studio Display topped out at 600 nits. The XDR is more than 3 times brighter. When you're editing HDR video and a sun flares in a frame, that 2,000 nit peak hits your eyes like actual sunlight. It is so bright that reviewers have described physically squinting during HDR playback. And this brightness is not just for show. It means the XDR can display the full P3 wide color gamut at reference level accuracy, which is what professional colorists and photographers need to grade content that will be seen in theaters, on billboards, or on other HDR displays. If you're a creative professional working with HDR content, this monitor pays for itself in the first month by eliminating the need for a separate reference monitor. But the feature that has everyone talking is the 120 Hz ProMotion refresh rate. If you have used a modern MacBook Pro, you already know what this feels like. Every animation, every scroll, every window drag feels liquid smooth. The cursor does not stutter across the screen. Pages scroll without ghosting. And if you're a video editor working with high frame rate footage, you can now preview 60 and 120 frames per second content natively on your external display without the jarring mismatch you get when you're SIBO Pro screen is at 120, but your external monitor is stuck at 60. Apple also included adaptive sync support, which means the display dynamically matches its refresh rate to the content you're viewing. So you get perfectly smooth video playback at 24, 30, or 60 frames per second without any judder or tearing. This is a feature that gamers have had on PC monitors for years, but Apple's implementation here is tuned specifically for content creation and consumption, not gaming, and it shows in the polished, artifact-free result. Both models share the same physical DNA with some meaningful differences. The standard Studio Display includes the basic tilt adjustable stand in the box, but if you want height adjustment, that will cost you an extra $400. Yes, $400 to move your monitor up and down. The XDR includes the tilt and height adjustable stand by default, which helps justify part of that price gap, but also tells you everything about Apple's margins on these accessories. Both displays offer nanotexture glass as a $300 upgrade. This is the same etched glass technology Apple uses on the Pro Display XDR, and it genuinely works.